Miss Joy here from the J.C. Ralston Arboretum. Welcome to Garden Story Time. Have you been enjoying the fall weather? I sure have. It's been a little bit cooler in the mornings, and the leaves are starting to change, and it's just beautiful outside. Well, another one of my favorite parts of the fall are pumpkins, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Miss Kathy is going to come and read our story called Pumpkin Jack. And then I'm going to show you some creative things you can do with your pumpkin after you've carved it. Thanks for joining us. Now, let's get started.
Hi, I'm Miss Kathy, and today we're going to read Pumpkin Jack. It was written and illustrated by Will Hubble. When Tim carved his first pumpkin, it was fierce and funny and just perfect. A jack-o'-lantern this good deserved a name, so Tim gave it one, Jack. Long after the best trick-or-treat candy was eaten, Tim still kept Jack. At night, when a candle made Jack's face dance on the wall and filled the dark with warm pumpkin smells, Tim felt Jack was almost magic. Yet too soon the spell was broken. "This pumpkin is beginning to rot," announced Mom. "It's time to throw it out." Tim knew it was useless to argue. He carried Jack to the garden, which was filled with brown ghosts of last summer's plants. A dead garden is better than a trash can, thought Tim. Still, it made him sad to leave Jack outside and alone. Whenever chores or play brought Tim to the garden, he looked at Jack. Every time, Jack was different. He became wrinkled and his fierce smile began to look silly. Mold spread over Jack's bright orange skin, and as the days turned colder, Jack grew flatter. Winter began. Soon Jack was hidden beneath snow, and Tim forgot about him. The cold, heavy jacket days came, snowmen and sliding days, indoor days, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and Valentine's. When all these days had passed and the March winds melted the snow, Tim found Jack. There wasn't much left, just a faded and crumpled pumpkin skin, a stem, and a few seeds. Jack's Halloween magic was a distant memory now. Tim scraped a thin blanket of earth over the last bits of his pumpkin. "Goodbye, Jack," he whispered. When spring turned barefoot warm, a tiny sprout appeared where Jack had been. Tim found it, and guess what it was? In the days that followed, Tim weeded and watered and watched the sprout. Slowly and steadily the plant changed and grew. It branched and spread a web of vines over the ground, but no pumpkins appeared. The days turned hot. Flowers opened on the plant each morning, yellow stars that twisted shut forever in the afternoon. Still, there were no pumpkins. Finally, Tim found a little green ball growing behind a crumpled blossom. A pumpkin! Tim let out a whoop and ran to show his mom. By August, the plant had spilled onto the lawn. Tim's favorite game became pumpkin hunting. He carefully waded among the leaves, searching for green pumpkins like hidden treasures. School began again and the days cooled. Tim had less time to visit the garden. When he did, the pumpkin plants seemed tired. There were few new leaves, and the old tattered ones no longer hid the fat green pumpkins. Then, one October morning, Tim woke to see frost coating the garden. The frozen plants seemed changed to pale blue glass. After school, Tim discovered what the frost had done. The pumpkin plant's leaves were as limp as wet paper. It was dying. Tim searched among the withered leaves for the unripe pumpkins. He picked them and put them on the front porch, hoping for one more change. By Halloween, the pumpkins had ripened to bright orange. There were many, for the plant had been generous. Tim was generous too. He gave away all but one. From jack-o'-lantern to seed to pumpkin again, the circle was almost complete. Now it was time for Tim to do his part. He gave his pumpkin a face. It smiled at him in a fierce and funny way. Tim smiled too and said, "Welcome back, Jack."
Thanks, Miss Kathy. That was a great story. I thought it was really clever how Tim put his pumpkin back out in the garden instead of the trash can. That's really awesome. Maybe that's something you could do. Well, I hope when you carve your pumpkin this Halloween, you are not throwing away those seeds inside, because they make a terrific snack. And that's what I'm going to show you, how to make some toasted pumpkin seeds. So let me show you the supplies you'll need. You'll need your pumpkin, of course, and your carving utensils, and you might need help from Mom and Dad for actually carving your pumpkin for your jack-o'-lantern. But you also need a big spoon, some salt, olive oil, and some measuring cups and spoons. I also am going to boil the pumpkin seeds, so I've put some water on to heat already. So you need a pan of boiling water, and then you'll need a tray. And we will turn the oven on to 400 degrees. So I'll start that now. Okay, I have cut a circle in the top of my pumpkin, and I'm gonna take the lid off now and see what's inside. Oh, I kind of have to pull hard. Oh, look what's on there. Here are all the goopy stuff, which is kind of fun. But do you see these seeds? We are going to take seeds and the rest of them that are in here. Wow, this looks like it's full. And we're going to roast those for a snack. Okay, I have gotten most of the seeds out of my pumpkin. You really have to not be afraid to get in there and dig. And I've put them in a strainer or a colander because I'm going to take them over to the sink next and I'm going to rinse them. I think that's pretty good. I think I've got most of my seeds out. The first thing we want to do is we want to get all the orange stuff off of the seeds. So let's go to the sink. Get rid of all the orange furry stuff. Forget that you can take the pulp out and put it in your compost bin if you compost. So I'm going to leave that there and do that in a little bit. But you can see I've given the seeds a good rinse and I've gotten all the pulp out of them. Now I'm going to add a step. You can put these directly into the oven and start roasting them if you want. But I'm going to add a step because I want to try to get more salt flavor into the seed inside. So I'm going to boil them in a couple cups of water, actually 4 cups of water with about a tablespoon of salt. And I'm going to boil them for about 10 minutes. So these have boiled in salt water for about 10 minutes. And now I'm going to strain off the hot water. And again, you're probably going to want help with this part. And the next thing I'm going to do is spread these out on some paper towels to dry. I'll turn my oven off. Keep spreading them out and try to get them as dry as you can. And the reason we want to get these as dry as we can, is because next we're going to put olive oil on them, and for the oil to stick to the seeds, they need to be drier rather than wet. So if you need to give them a few minutes to dry out too, that's fine. Okay, next we're going to put some olive oil on our tray, about 2 tablespoons. I'm just going to pour some on there, and then we're going to take our seeds and scatter them on the oil, and use your hands if you want a little bit to mix them up and get oil on all parts of the seeds. And then we're gonna spread them all out so that they can toast evenly. All right, we're ready to toast them. We're gonna put them in the oven for a few minutes at 400 degrees, but we're gonna keep a good eye on them because they'll toast up pretty quick. Okay, it's been about 5 minutes. Let's take a look. Oh, they're looking good. Can you hear them? They're singing. We'll leave them in a few more minutes. They're not quite brown enough. Hey. Oh, I think those look good. These have been in the oven about 10 minutes, maybe 12 minutes. I think those look good. I'm going to take them out. Ooh, those look good. All right, so they're all toasty. Do you see how they're brown? And I think they look awesome. The last thing I'm going to do is just go ahead and add more salt to the top of the seeds while they're warm and the oil is still kind of warm on them. Now, another thing you could do is if you like a sweeter snack, you can add cinnamon and sugar. That sounds good. Or some other spices. You can experiment. I kind of like a classic, so I always just put the salt on there. But I hope you enjoy your snack. And I'm going to let these cool and then I'm going to sample them. While my seeds are cooling for my snack, I had one last idea for you. You remember how Jack put his pumpkin out in the garden? Well, what if you, after Halloween and you're all done with your jack-o'-lantern, if you want to get a little bit more mileage out of your pumpkin, take it out in the backyard, find a spot for it, maybe where it could even stay all winter and then turn into a pumpkin plant in the spring. But before it snows, make a fairy garden out of it. Here's some pictures of some ideas of what I did with my pumpkin. I put it out in the garden and I added some bark for a door and some stones for a little path. And I just kind of had fun. Put some moss on the top of the pumpkin for hair, or I guess it would be a roof for the fairies. And then I had fun and was able to enjoy my pumpkin just a little bit longer in the garden. So I hope you've had fun this week with us on our pumpkin journey, and I hope that you will find great new creative ways to enjoy the season together with your family, and I will see you next time. Oh, those are good.